Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with our second session today. I'm thrilled to share today's second session, GED Manager and GED Prep Connect, a closer look. Our presenter today, Diane Vicari. Diane, did I pronounce your last name correctly? I want to make sure that I do that.
It's Vicari, but that's okay.
Vicari. I
Yeah.
get that as a Haverly. That's everyone pronounces it Haverly. I I get it. So Diane Vicari, a state relationship manager for GED testing services. She provides support, guidance, and training to GED learners, educators, and administrators in 9 jurisdictions, including Bermuda, Connecticut, Florida, Kentucky, New Jersey, Ohio, Rhode Island, South Carolina, and West Virginia. That is a very diverse.
Yes, it is. It's not very regionalized, is it?
No, it's not. Um, but before joining GED testing service in June of 2023, Diane served as the high school equivalency diploma program manager at the Florida Department of Education for 13 years, including several years as the Florida GED administrator. Her career in education spans 40 years, including roles as the FDOE Director of Instructional Materials and Library Media Services, High School Library Media Specialist, and High School Chemistry and Algebra Teacher. So I introduce you to Diane Vicari. Thank you for presenting for us today.
Thank you so much, Mary Kate. You can tell from my bio there that I have a wide range of experience in education, ranging from K-12 all the way through adult learners. So I know what you go through as adult educators because I was a teacher. And I'm still a teacher at heart. So please, if you have any questions during today's session, you can, of course, put them in the chat, or at the end, we can open it up for questions, I think, so we can actually talk them through if you want to. And of course, you can reach out to me. I'll have my email address on my last slide here. Mary Kay, I did not ask, can we get these slides to the participants at a later time if I provide them to you?
Yes, absolutely. If you
Okay.
send Amy your materials, we will be disseminating all the materials from today's all of the sessions
Okay.
at a later time. So
Okay.
yes.
I'll make sure to get those to you so that all of you can have those materials as well. All right, I'm going to get started. I'm going to go off video screen only because I'm going to be looking at some different materials. And I find it distracting for myself when I'm looking up or down or to the side. So I'm going to go off screen. I'll come on if you have any questions, of course. Okay. What are we going to actually cover in this session? We're going to take a look at what the data shows in Connecticut, and how that might relate to why you will want to use GED Prep Connect or GED Manager to maybe improve your GED learners that show up at your programs, and also that would mean that you would get more graduates. And of course, I'll take time to answer any questions that you have. All right, the first thing I'm going to share with you is a fact sheet that is put out by COABE, and I have a link to it. When you get these slides, there will be links embedded in the document for you so that you can get the actual documents that are on the screen, or it'll take you to a place on the website where you can find those materials. But this particular one, it was published in 2024 for the year 22-23, July 1 to June 30th for Connecticut. The part that I really want to look at is the part that is highlighted in red. So I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. What this shows is that we had 210,000 or over 210,000 adults who do not speak English well or at all in Connecticut. But the one that I really want to look at is the middle one, the middle number, the almost 177,000 of working age adults in the state that don't have a high school credential. I think we all know that the high school credential can lead to helping students or learners or adults, however we want to look at them, to do better in life overall. It allows them opportunities to go to post-secondary, allows them opportunities for bigger and better jobs and careers. So the high school credential is really important. I looked up the population of Connecticut, which is over 3 point, no, that can't be right. Um, I think I wrote it down wrong, but um, about 5% of Connecticut's population is without a high school credential, just so that we put that into perspective a little bit. It's a big number. All right, so how does Connecticut do with their high school equivalency diploma and testing? Connecticut uses the GED test, and you can see from the data on the screen that we are almost back to the same number of tests now as we were before COVID in Connecticut. Okay, you see the numbers went down considerably during COVID. The same thing with passers. So the numbers are starting to come back. Of course, COVID put a big dent in anyone being able to get out and go to an adult ed center, all of those things. They weren't able to get into testing sites. So we had much fewer testers, test takers, completers, and passers. And just to define things a little bit here, I know most of you know that there are 4 subtests to the complete GED battery. The number of tests is all the tests that have been administered in Connecticut during that time period. Test takers are the individuals themselves that are taking those tests. Completers are those individuals who have at least taken all of the 4 tests. They may not have passed them. And then, of course, passers have passed all 4. So in order to be a passer, you have to be a completer. I think what this shows us at this point is that, if we look at the 22-23 year, which the COABE data was for, and you compare the 635 individuals that earned a high school diploma in Connecticut during that year, that doesn't even come close to the number of individuals who need a diploma in the state. So it's really important for you to think about this and say to yourselves, well, what if I had a way to get more students into my program so we could combat these numbers a little bit better? I did want to share one more final data point with you. Um, There are over 1,200 candidates in Connecticut who have passed 3 of the 4 GED tests. That number is from January 1st of 2014, when we started computer-based testing, to present. So we've got 1,200 people out there that need just one test to become a passer. Now, if you think about that, that's more than the number of passers in each of the last 5 years. So when you get these slides, you can look at the numbers. It's a lot of people out there that only need one test. So I want to encourage you to reach out to me if you want to get involved with getting those local candidates that you have who have taken and passed 3 of the 4 tests to earn their diploma. We have ways of creating lists. If you are a GED Manager user, to get a list of the 3 or 4 passers for your local center, and you can use that information to reach out to these students and get them back so that they can actually take and pass that last test. So when you get my email address at the end, make sure you reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you with that. We'd love to get all these 1,200 candidates to be passers instead of just passing 3 of the 4 tests. Okay. The reason that I went through that data to start with was to just give you an idea of why you might want to use GEDPrep Connect and GED Manager. The two resources are connected to one another. GEDPrep Connect is a way for individuals who sign up for a GED.com account to get connected to your local program. Now, some of you have GED Manager access already, so you know that some of the things that are available, and we're going to go through all of those things today. But the first step is to really get the individual to choose your prep center. All right, and we've got a few benefits to using GED Prep Connect and having your prep center available for a choice to individuals when they sign up at GED.com. It increases awareness of your programs. It connects more students to your programs. And by doing that, we know that if they are involved with your program, they are going to do better and be able to complete and pass the GED test and earn their diploma. These programs are promoted through GED.com. I'm going to show you how that happens. And it improves your access and management of student information if they choose your center when you have access to GED Manager. So Prep Connect is kind of the student side. They sign up for your or to be contacted by you and to share information with you. That's the Prep Connect side. The GED Manager side is going to be the side that you use to actually manage that information. Okay, so how can students actually sign up, or how do they choose your program? Well, the first place that they're able to do that is when they actually create their account at GED.com. This question comes up: are you interested in attending GED classes? If they choose yes, they are presented with a screen that allows them to find one of your centers. Now, I just happen to put in, um, you know, maybe what I should say at this point is this is a student account that I use to see what students see in Connecticut. And you can do that as well. So if, as an adult educator, if you want to create a student account, you go to GED.com, sign up for a new account. You can use your regular first name, but we do ask that you use the last name of candidate and to use a personal email address. Don't use your school site email because you may end up using it, or you may already be using it for GED Manager. So you need to use a different email. So when I signed up for a new account as a student in Connecticut, I used the zip code of 06098, which is Winsted, Connecticut, and it came up with this particular list. Now, it will self-populate with a zip code for the individual for whatever address they put in when they signed up. However, that doesn't mean that they can't put in a zip code. So let's say they work in one location and they are living in a different location, but they want to attend classes near their work. Then they can put in their work zip code. So they are able to change the zip code and click find. It also shows a map so that they can see where on the map might their closest prep center be. All right, once they do that, they can hit select I happen to choose the Simsbury Adult Education choice here. And then when you do that, it will appear up at the top. You see that with the green arrow. So now they've selected Simsbury Adult Education. It gives a phone number. It shows it on a map. It'll give them directions. And it also gives them, I've circled it in the top there, it allows them to remove that selection if they've chosen incorrectly, and they can go back and choose a different one. This particular map comes up with all of the other ways that they can actually access this after they've created their account. So once they've selected this during account creation, they have several opportunities to change whatever it is they selected, or maybe they don't select one the first time that they log in. They decide, I don't want to be picking any adult ed center. I'm going to try this on my own or whatever. It allows them, the system does allow them to go back and actually select later. And I'm going to show you how many times out in GED.com in their particular account, it allows them to make a choice to visit a prep center. Okay, the second option is in the study section. Now, if you have not been on a student account before, I really suggest that you create yourself an account so that you can see all of these things and how they look on the screen. Um, that way you can actually see what they see. All right, I see a question from Tom. He said he can't see 17-year-olds that select my site. That is correct. If they have an age alert that's outstanding, those do not show up in GED Manager until after that age alert is cleared. Okay, that is because the student is considered underage in your state, and our legal requirements are that their age alert has to be released before you can actually view them. So I hope that helps. All right, so this is option 2. They can find GED classes using the tile in the study section. They also can see it in their My Scores section. So if they've taken any GED tests or GED readies, they have a screen that looks like this in their My Scores section, and it will show them all of their test scores and gives them opportunity to get their score report. But at the top, there's a little icon. It looks like that icon to send it to somewhere else. You can actually, the student can click on that, and then they will see that map and be able to choose a prep center to send scores to, which essentially, if they choose your particular prep center, they're actually sharing their scores with you. So this is the third option. The fourth option is if they click on their score report, they're going to see something like this. This one is showing that they had a test for math and they earned a 143, and it just shows a partial portion of the score report. But up at the top, it says, share my scores, find GED classes. So say they take this and they now say, oh, you know what, I need to get to a prep center. I want to choose a different prep center. They can do it right from their score report. Again, it will take them to that map, allow them to put in their zip code. All right, right on the dashboard when they sign in, there is a link to find GED classes, so they can do it that way. So that's option 5. So it's presented to them in 6 different places. In the student account, they can also edit their profile. Up in the upper right-hand corner of the screen of the GED.com, once they log in, they will see their initials. And when they click on the initials, it will bring up a little box that lets them edit their profile. And it shows up in a list. So the GED Prep Center will come up in the list, and then they can edit their Prep Center there. So here's what that looks like when they've already selected one and they want to make an edit. If they don't have one selected, it'll just say there isn't one selected, and they can edit it to pick a new one. Okay, so now that you know how they select a prep center, or you have someone that comes in and maybe they've moved, maybe they are now attending or enrolled in your prep center and you want them to change their prep site, you know how to do that. So that was the GED Prep Connect part of things. What we're going to look at next is the GED Manager side of things, the side that you as adult ed staff can have access to at your prep center. GED Manager is, whoops, I think it's got a mind of its own. GED Manager is an online program management tool that is designed to help you as educators manage your programs. Now, there are other people, of course, that have access to GED Manager. Just giving you an idea of some of the different types of access that are available. Jurisdictional access is usually something that maybe test administrators or state staff has. It varies by state. The You as educators could have student authorized view. We call that SAV view. That's what we're going to spend the time on today. And then those of you that might be in a corrections role, you would have some additional features available in GED Manager, and you wouldn't have some of the things that the student authorized view gets. For instance, in corrections, they have to have a way of actually creating accounts for inmates because they don't have a way to do that. They can't access GED.com. But they won't have the availability of the enrollment features that you have in SAV View. So as I said, we're going to take a look at the SAV View in great detail today. All right, what are some of the things that you can do with GED Manager? Now, in all of the roles that I showed you on the previous screen, everybody has access to the first four on here. The student search can get student score reports for both ready and operational tests. You have access to what's called a student test activity report that gives you different features from just the student search. You can get a passer's report. And in SAView, the SAView role can actually manage enrollments. And this part of it is really what can help to get more students into your prep center. There will be a lot of people that create an account, but then they never do anything. But they've chosen your particular center, and they said, I'm interested, and nobody ever reaches out to them because some of you don't realize that this particular feature is available to you. So we're going to take a look at all of these today. I'm sure that those of you that use GED Manager already have already bookmarked the GED Manager login page. But for those of you who want to see what it looks like, basically you can go to GED.com. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you can select educators and admins. And then up in the upper right-hand corner on that page, there is a direct link to the GED Manager login. Do you want to point out that the GED Manager login page looks like the one on the left that's labeled GED Manager login? If you happen to have a student account that you use so that you can see what students see, you would see what's on the right-hand side, the student login. And if you're like me and you go back and forth between logging into your student account and logging into your GED Manager account, what you end up having happen is when you go to sign in, maybe you just finished with your student account and you want to sign into GED Manager. You go to your bookmark, you go there, and the student login page comes up. If you refresh it a couple of times, it will actually go back to the GED Manager login. So if you get stuck and you can't figure out, well, I can't get to the GED Manager login screen anymore, try refreshing your bookmark a couple of times. It usually will get you back to that. Or use the process that I said earlier, which, go to GED.com, go to educators and admins, and then hit the GED Manager link in the upper right-hand corner. But there are two separate login pages for these, and you would have to have two separate emails and passwords for them. Okay, so this particular screen shows you, excuse me, the homepage for GED Manager. There's a lot available on this home screen, and I can bet that with as busy as you are, you know exactly where you want to go when you get here. You might just go to Manage Student and you never look at anything else that's on this screen. So I want to take you through what is available to you because there's a lot of things here that might be helpful to you moving forward. First off, let's take a look at the menu items that you have available. You have the home screen, which is what it logs you into. You have Manage Student, GED Direct, Reporting, and Admin. And we're going to take a look at some of those different things, and they are drop-down menus you see with the little arrow that shows up on the screen. Okay, let's see here. I have a few questions. Let me get to them. All right. Question from Robert. Does GED.com need to verify that you are an educator? If you're talking about having a student account at GED.com, the answer is no. To get a GED Manager access, you would need permission from your local program and state. Okay. Is there a reason why every GED teacher in an organization shouldn't have access to GED Manager? That is completely a state decision. That is not something that we at GED Testing Service decide on. That's a state decision on who gets access to GED Manager. We don't have any reason for not allowing teachers access, but the state may have reasons for that. So that's something that you would need to ask the state office. Okay, Robert says he wasn't sure which one he was referring to. All right, Robert, the GED.com, if you're creating a student account, you just want to use the last name candidate and use a personal email. You cannot, of course, if you create that account, doesn't mean that you can take a test. You as an educator should not be taking a test. The actual operational test. You can take the GED Ready test, but you cannot take the actual GED tests using a student account. GED Manager is separate. It's a separate account, and you would need to get approval from the state office to gain access to GED Manager. So there are two different accounts. And for that, for the GED Manager account, you would use your agency email, your work email for that. Okay, so hopefully I've cleared that up for you. But of course, you can feel free, if you need to have more conversation with me about that, you can certainly email me and we can talk about that. Okay, so let's see what else is available here on the screen. On the home page at the top, there will be some announcements, I guess we would call them. They are usually highlighted in yellow, and they let you X off of them once you've read them. Like the first one here is multi-factor authorization or authentication. We have multi-factor authentication on GED Manager to keep things safe. So it's just reminding me of that. Uh, there's other things, there's an announcement that things are going to be unavailable October 11th. This was, a previous announcement that was made. So any announcements that they feel need to go out to GED Manager users show up at the top in yellow. Also on the GED Manager homepage, we have an action section, and basically what it shows you is what your last login date was and your password reset date. And then you can ask to have it, if you want to reset your password right then, it will let you send an email. So that's actions. The GED Direct dashboard section shows any purchases you've made for GED Ready practice tests. In the state of Connecticut, you wouldn't be purchasing GED tests in any way because those are provided free of charge. There's no cost for GED testing in Connecticut. But if you're purchasing GED Ready practice tests through GED Direct, they would show up here. And it also lets you manage those assignments and share those with others in your program. What's new section, anything that they've put new shows up there. In this case, it said there's a new GED Direct user video available under the helpful links. There's student news. This is probably one of the sections that maybe you don't look at as often because maybe you haven't been using it. You may look at your screen and see that everybody is being listed under expressed interest and you don't have anybody enrolled. If that's the case, that means that you haven't been going into the students who you actually have enrolled and marking them as enrolled. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. This particular example I have here had 10 new people that had expressed interest. So I know just by looking at my homepage that I could contact those 10 people and offer, the services of my prep center to them. Now, how do you contact them? You can use email, you can use phone, you can use texting, and we're going to look at some of those things as we go through today as well. All right. Also on the GED Manager homepage is a who to contact section. This gives you various emails and phone numbers that can help you in your day-to-day work. So if you're wondering, well, who do I contact at GED for this? Look at this list in your GED Manager account. There's a helpful links section. Some of the things in the helpful links include training videos, gets you to the jurisdiction testing policies, so you can look up what the policies are for Connecticut for GED testing. It gets you to the GED Ready extended response scoring tools. I'm just highlighting a couple of things on this list, but there's a lot there available to you. Get you right to where you need to go if you're looking for something. And then finally, on this page, we've got helpful documents. These are mostly things about how to use GED Manager, but there are also things on like how to apply for accommodations. What's the difference between purchasing GED Readies on GED Direct and Marketplace, for a bulk purchase maybe that you're trying to do. So there's a lot of information available on that homepage to you. Okay, let's take a look at the different menu items that we had. Whoops, keeps on wanting to skip ahead on me. Maybe I'm not going fast enough. If you click on Manage Student, you have the student search. You may or may not have the other options that are listed there, but we're going to take a look at the student search first. This is the one that you probably use most often if you have access to GED Manager already. You can see on the screen there that there are many filters that you can use to get the students you're looking for. I want to give you a couple of tips here. One thing is you don't have to enter anything. Okay, if you were to just click search, it's going to give you a list of everybody in your program. You can just put in a last name. You can put in a last name and a first initial. You can put in a first name and a last initial. You can do all kinds of things here. If you only have the student's email, you can put that in here. So you don't have to filter, you don't have to put something in all the filter fields to get what you're looking for. And I really do suggest, if you're having trouble finding a student that you believe chose your prep center, it could be that they spelled their name wrong. We have that happen quite often. So you might have to be creative to find their account. And then you might also have to help them to get that corrected. And of course, another reason why you might not see them was already mentioned earlier with the question that was asked. But if there is an outstanding age alert, you will not be able to see that student until the age alert is cleared. Um, Once you do that, of course, you're going to get a list of students there, and you can click on them and see all kinds of things. You can get to their score reports and things like that. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that particular section, only because I think that's the one you use most often. And most of you know how to search by name and date of birth and that kind of thing. Okay. Tom is asking, sometimes new students do not appear in my enrolled list. I have to go to the Manage Student tab and type in the name in order to find some of my students. Okay, we're going to talk about enrolled in this next section, Tom. So if I don't answer your question, just type back in after we're done with this section that I didn't answer it, and please readdress it for you. But I think what I'm going to cover in this next section will answer your question. Okay, here's the, again, you go Manage Student, and you're going to choose Manage GED Prep Connect Enrollment. Okay, this is what Tom is referring to in his question. You can see you have a lot of different choices here. You can search by enrollment status, which is different. And I think what he's saying here is he might search for enrolled, but that student isn't there. Well, there is a good reason for that, and that is that any student who first signs up to let your, with your prep center, they're going to show up as interested. Our system does not know that they are enrolled in your particular program unless you mark them that way. So I'm going to show you how you do that. But anybody, the first time that they show up in your GED Manager after they choose your prep center, they're going to show up as interested, whether they are actually enrolled in your center or not, because we don't know that. GED testing service has no way of knowing who is actually enrolled in your particular prep center. All the student is doing when they select your prep center is saying that I'm interested or enrolled in this prep center. So it's up to you as the person with GED Manager access to go in and change them over to enrolled status. All right, let's continue here. All right, as you can see on this screen, I've redacted, student information. But I did allow you to view some of the, what the fields are that you get. And in this particular case, when I did the search, I didn't include anything in the search filters. They were all blank. And again, you can hit search and it gives you that complete list of people that are have chosen your particular program. And then you can, using the up and down arrows that are available in the list that you get, you can sort them by name, you can sort them by email, zip, county, phone number. You can sort them by all of those things that have the double arrow at the top. You just click on that double arrow, and it will sort them either A to Z, or if you click it again, it'll go a Z back to A, that kind of thing, or 1 to 9, or 9 to 1, or 0. But what you get is quite a few fields that just show up on here, and then you're able to click on those particular people that show up. Again, I've redacted most of the student information here, but you can sort by one student, groups of students, export the results. You can change the status of a student from interested to contacted, dismissed, enrolled, or credentialed. You can write in notes about students. So there's a lot of things that you can do using this search method. It's sometimes I think it's so robust a feature that it's like, how can I use this for what I need to get? And you have to make that decision. What's the best way for you to manage this? Now, if it were, let's say my what I wanted to do for my prep center was to try to not only track my students who are enrolled, but I also want to reach out to students who have created an account and they are marked as interested, but I've never seen them at my site. They've never come in. I might use that interested list to reach out to them. I would use the enrolled list. Of course, you have to mark them as enrolled. I'd use that enrolled list to follow the students that I know are already in my program. I can view their score reports. I can figure out, well, where are we going next? Here, they've taken the GED ready, they've earned a red. What do they need to prepare to get ready to take the GED ready again? If they've earned green on GED ready, you might want to still look at their score report and see what areas could it be that they might have to improve on. Maybe they didn't score well in certain areas. So for enrolled students, you might use it a little bit differently than you do for interested students. So when you do this, and you can see you have on the screen a way to edit any of them that come up in the list. Okay, so you can change their enrollment status. These are the different choices you have with explanations of what they generally mean. Okay, and I've already mentioned interested is all students who select GED Prep Center in their GED.com account. This is what will initially show, unless you change it. They're all going to show up as interested. If you're in GED Manager, you can choose to mark them as enrolled. They are in your program, so you mark them as enrolled so that when you go back to that filter screen, when you go back to here, and you want to just view all of your enrolled people, then you can choose that from the enrollment status dropdown. So all of these enrollment statuses show up in that first field on this screen when you use the dropdown box. Whoops. So I think that probably answers your question, Tom, about why you're not seeing them in your enrolled list. It's because they're actually still in there as interested. you actually need to go in and mark them as enrolled before they will show up in your enrolled list. All right, so those are the two that you probably will use most often. But let's say that you had someone who was interested, they are not enrolled in your program, but you have now reached out to them. You've reached out via text, or you called them, or you emailed them. You could mark them as contacted. Okay, so you can, anytime you reach out to someone who was previously marked as interested, you can mark them as contacted. Let's say you have contacted the person, but they say, I'm not interested anymore. We get that a lot with our adult learners. They sign up for a GED.com account because the job that they happen to be applying for needs a high school diploma, and they get all excited and they sign up for the GED.com account. And then the next day or the next week, they get a job somewhere that didn't need a high school diploma. And now they don't want to bother with this. They don't have time for it. And they tell you, don't call me again, right? You reach out to them, you say, I'll be happy to help you to earn your high school diploma. We'd love to have you come into our center. And they really say, please don't contact me. I am, not interested, as I've gotten a job and I don't need my high school diploma anymore. Of course, that's when you can use your skills to try to encourage them to, yes, you really should get a GED diploma, because it could help you for a job later on. I know how we can all do that in our day-to-day work in trying to encourage adult learners to actually earn their diploma. But if they are really adamant and they say, don't call me, you can mark them as dismissed in this, so that you don't have to worry about reaching out to them again, and maybe they get belligerent or whatever. We've all had those conversations too. And then the last choice you have is if they have actually credentialed. So let's say you have an enrolled student and now they've earned their credential. You can change them from enrolled to credentialed. Currently, our system does not automatically mark them as credentialed in the system. They're working on doing that so that anyone who has passed all 4 of their tests, it comes over. But each state is different as to whether there might be other requirements to earning a diploma. Some states have um, a civics test that they have to take in addition to the GED tests, and we wouldn't have that data at GED Testing Service. So it's been a little bit of a problem marking them as automatically credentialed. So that's something that you would have to go in and update on your own as well. All right, so how do you actually update the enrollment status? Once you do a search on the student activity report, you're going to get the list of names that maybe fall within a time period. Let's say I just searched a time period. And then over all the way on the right-hand side, there's going to be an edit button. I mentioned that in one of the previous screens. You would click. You see here that all of these on the screen are marked as enrolled. Well, let's say that I want to update one of these to be credentialed. I could click edit and then go in and mark them as credentialed. I may have made a mistake and marked them as enrolled, or they've dropped out at this point, and I go back and I mark them as interested or contacted. So you can edit the individual's enrollment status by clicking edit. What comes up is a choice for those. We've got interested, enrolled, contacted, credentialed, dismissed. We've got all of those things for choices. And it also gives you a box to write notes. And that's what you see here on the screen. There's a drop-down menu and then also the box. And you see here, here's one has been changed. to enrolled, and the notes were talk to Jim and he's completed the enrollment process. You can decide whatever you want to put in there. You can leave it blank. It doesn't have to have a note, but if you have notes because you want to, keep up with what you talk to the individual about, you can put notes in the system. This is very similar to a contact management system for someone who's in sales. Salespeople use systems like this all the time so that they can keep up with their customers or their potential customers. So that's kind of where this comes from. In education, we don't use this that often, but it's a great tool for you to use to, keep track of who's enrolled. Those are your current customers, right? And then the ones that are interested are those that are actually the ones that are potential customers. And you can keep track of your contacts with them as well. So it is an important tool to use if you are trying to actually promote your program, right? Recruit to your programs. Okay, if you choose dismissed, it will ask you to put in a dismissed reason, and that's for you to keep track of those. They've got a few available here to you. You might dismiss them because you can't get in contact with them at all. Maybe none of their contact information is valid. They're not interested. They were a no-show. They dropped out. They transferred. It can be other, and you can put notes in. The candidate has been removed. There's all kinds of reasons that you can give here. And they give you a drop down for those, and then you can still put notes in the box. Once you put a note in on a specific student, you see here I've got it circled in green. This little note box shows up, and if you hover over that, it will show the note that you actually entered for that particular student. And you can add notes to any of them, so keep that in mind. Notes can be added under any of the enrollment statuses. And you'll know you have entered a note because of that little box that you see circled in green. One thing I should point out to you is if they switch programs, then it all starts over again, right? So say they started in one program and they've moved somewhere in the state and they're now going to be in another program and they choose a different prep site. It all starts over at interested, and you have to go back and do everything because that center would not have done it previously. Okay, some tips for you to reach out to interested students, because I think this is the real besides you being able to see their score reports, right? I think that's the most important reason for you to have access to GED Manager, is so that you have a way of helping your students to pass the GED tests. And the best way to do that is to know how well they're doing on GED Ready or on a GED test. And that's what the score report does. Before the 2014 tests, we didn't have a way to do that on paper. There was no score reports. Students and teachers had no real idea of how their students did with any particulars other than a number score. So the score reports have been widely received and very well received by adult educators and students. So that's probably the most important thing you get at GED Manager. I think, though, the second most important thing is that you have a way of reaching out to interested students and encouraging them to come in to your programs. I think we all know that they have better results when they are involved with your prep center. So if we can get more students enrolled, we will get more passers. And I think that's what our goal is. It's not just our goal at GED Testing Service, it's our goal as educators. I feel like I'm still an educator, no matter how I look at it. Whether I was in the K-12 realm or whether I'm in adult education, we all have goals of helping our learners to achieve their goals. And I think for adult learners, the first step to achieving any goals for an adult learner are to have a high school diploma if they don't already have one. So anything we can do to get them to earn a high school diploma will make their lives better. They will be eligible for post-secondary. They'll be eligible for so many more jobs and careers with that credential. So being able to reach interested students in your programs is a way for you to reach out for students. In the sales world, we call this if you just have a list, and they had not contacted you previously, that's called a cold call, right? Nobody likes to make cold calls. These are not cold calls. They actually signed up at GED.com come for your prep center. So they want to be contacted by you. They may be waiting for you to reach out for them. Think about some of the individuals you deal with. They may not have the confidence to just come to your center and meet with you. They may need you to call them or text them or email them first and say, hey, we're very welcoming. We would love to have you come visit us. They sometimes need that push. So some tips here: make sure you update the status of the students in your program. As Tom said, it's nice to be able to look at an enrolled list. You can only do that if you update their status to enrolled. Successful programs have teachers or office staff assigned to monitor GEDPrep Connect enrollment and reach out to interested students. So I think there's, just a few people at a prep center site in Connecticut that are allowed to have access to GED Prep Connect. So you might want to assign someone to do this updating. In green here, please don't be afraid to call, email, text any of those individuals that you have as interested. They shared their contact information with you. I do have to say that in working with other programs who use GED Manager for this purpose, they find that texting works the best. And I think we have all gotten out of the habit of just answering calls on our cell phones. If you do decide to call, I would definitely leave a message if you get voicemail. But we also know that sometimes they don't even have their voicemail set up. So reaching out to them via text and letting them know who you are and that they can call or come in to visit you might be something you want to do. I was in a call recently with some other educators, and they were mentioning that they were using the free Google Voice to actually reach out via texting. So there's a way to do that on Google Voice for free. You may have something already set up at your local program to reach out via text. So maybe you can get your IT folks to help you with that. Okay, let's see. It looks like we have a question that came in. So let me be able to read the whole thing here. I've got to scroll. Okay, Amina says that they have a question. We have a GED student who enrolled in our program for 2 years in a row, but she did not register this year. I regularly sent her text messages, and finally, she scheduled her last test for the next month. That is fantastic. If I change her status to contacted and she passes her last GED test and earns her high school diploma, does our agency get credit for this? Yes, GED Manager has nothing to do with who is getting credit as a prep center. That's a completely different situation. This is just a way for you to keep track internally. It's not reported out to anyone. And honestly, if they credential, you can go in and change your status to credentialed in your GED Manager. But again, that doesn't get reported to your state officials. That reporting system is completely different. Okay, so it wouldn't be a problem for you to use this system. It doesn't affect your credit at the state level for earners, diploma earners. I hope that helps. Bottom line here is, I really hope that you will use the enrollment features that you have available to you out there in GED Manager. And hopefully this has helped you on how to do that. Again, I know that how busy you are. um, I worked at schools, I worked in state offices. Um, it's, really hard for you to do everything. So I get that. But keep in mind that if you are the user of GED Manager and maybe you have an administrative assistant at your site, or you have a registrar at your site, you can print them a list of your interested students and have them reach out to the students. It doesn't have to be you. And they can actually mark down that, talk to this person, and then they give you the list back, and then you update it in the system. So there are ways of doing this. And I know not everybody has the opportunity to do that, and it's all on you. But if you are interested in getting more students in your programs, you have a tool to do that. And I think that's what I want to share with you today, is that you do have tools out there to improve the numbers that you have enrolled in GED Prep. Excuse me. I included just a sample text message here. These are, you can do whatever you want with these. Um, But you always want to give them opportunity. If you text them, you want to give them either a phone number that they can call, or a website that they can go to, or something that they can continue to have contact with you. But texting is a good way to reach out to people. I should say that I've had a few prep centers that actually reach out and they say, we'll be calling you. So if you get a call from this number on your cell phone, if you could please pick up, we'd appreciate it. You let them know that you're with an adult ed center. Sometimes they'll pick up on the call that way too. You can also email them. We do find today that emails are not always opened. Sometimes they end up in spam or junk. But it's a good first try. We all have the availability to email, and you may have a mailbox that you use for your adult ed program, that it can go out from that particular email address instead of your own work email address, or maybe you want to send it out directly from your own email address. But again, it's just that first, hi, this is what we do here. We'd love to have you come in and help you to earn your diploma. Okay, so there is a section in the admin dropdown that's called Manage GED Prep Connect Notifications. This allows you to opt in to an email that you would get when new students, new people who go onto GED.com, choose your prep center. Okay, so keep in mind that you can make that change anytime you want. So I believe it opts you out to begin with, and you have to actually opt in. So that's where you would do that, to opt in to get an email from the system that you've got new people out there that are marked as interested. And then you can update their enrollment status. For many of us, we don't like that extra email, so we want it shut off, and we don't want to get that email every day or every 2 days or whatever. But this is where you can change that in that admin section. Also, that's the enrollment portion of this GED Manager. Also available in GED Manager is GED Direct. GED Direct allows you to purchase GED ready practice tests. In the case of Connecticut, you wouldn't want to purchase in person and online because there's no fee in Connecticut for that. So this is mainly for GED ready for Connecticut. One thing you need to keep in mind, let me go back. One thing you need to keep in mind with GED Direct, rather than purchasing vouchers, is that you don't have to keep track of these vouchers. Before GED Direct, the only way to purchase GED Readies was with getting vouchers. And you'd be sent these voucher lists. You give the voucher number to the student, hope that they use it, hope that they don't lose it, keep track of who you gave it to on a spreadsheet, and then you'd have to look up whether they used it or not later on. So GED Direct kind of takes all of that out. Voucher codes also have expiration dates. So that was always an issue. You would have to, contact me as your state relationship manager to try to get any unused vouchers that are expiring extended. It takes all of that out of the voucher process. GED Direct actually takes the place of vouchers. There are no expiration dates. All right. How does it actually work? You make your purchases in GED Manager, and in the case of Connecticut, those would be GED Readies, and you would receive a discounted price for those. Now, just to give you a heads up, the price for GED Ready out on the marketplace, the regular retail price, is going up from $6.99 to $7.99 beginning in March. There are discounted pricing lists, though, available when you purchase through GED Direct. And those prices are considerably lower. They start out around, right now, they start out at the $5 mark. I think when the price increase goes into place in March, I think they go up to like $5.50 or $5.60. But I can get you all of that information if you need it. Once you purchase them, you can easily assign tests to your students right through your GED Manager account. And you can also share them with other individuals who have GED Manager access at your site. So if there are 2 people at your site with GED Manager access, then you can share those purchases with the other person so that they can use them and assign them as well. Now, the one nice thing here is once you purchase them, they don't expire. And even after you assign them to someone, say that you assign it to a student and it sits out there for 2 months and they never use that GED Ready, well, you can take it back. And it goes back into your account and they no longer can use it. So as long as they haven't started the GED Ready, they haven't clicked on it to use it, you can actually take those back. You manage your purchases very easily on your GED Manager dashboard, and we'll look at that in a minute. And it allows you to see the status that you have along with any order history that you have. Let's take a look at how you can do this. There is a menu item up at the top. It says GED Direct in GED Manager, and you can buy, you can manage your assignments, you can look at your order history. If you remember back to the home screen, you also would see this on your home screen. So it gives you the same opportunity. Now, this particular one shows that this particular group, whoops, keeps on wanting to do that, telling me to hurry up. 37 of these are unassigned, 1 has been assigned, and 4 have been used. So it lets you keep track of things very easily here. You don't have to have that spreadsheet anymore. You can manage your assignments. You can assign a test to someone. It'll come up with a box like the one on the right that lets you select a student. Remember that the only students that are going to show up there are those that are actually showing up in your GED Manager. So same reason. You're not going to show a student from anywhere. It's just going to be the particular students that you have in your program. So they have to select your prep center, and I believe they cannot be underage or not have an outstanding age alert. What shows up on the student account is they will get a notification that they have a new GED Ready assignment, and it will let them click on a link to actually access their practice test. If you share with educators, again, that educator has to have access to GED Manager and be part of your program. That's what the share button will do. You click on share, and then they will get, the person you shared with will get an email that they have had GED Ready tests shared with them. How do you view student activity and what's available there? I'm going to give a quick peek at time. It looks like we still have a little bit of time left, so I will continue on here. The student test activity report is available for you under reporting, and it gives you some different things that you can actually search by. This particular one will let you see students who have made appointments, not just those who have taken a test. So it's important that you know that you can see that information here. Again, lots of filters at the top for you to choose. I really suggest that you go out there and take a look at what is available there. In this example, let's say you want to print score reports for everyone who's taken the reasoning test for you for a certain time period. You can do that. You see, I have it highlighted here. You can do all kinds of different searching. You can look for those who have not passed certain tests. So they've taken it, but they haven't passed. Maybe you want to help those students to get over the level of passing so that they can move on. You can also export your results and put them into Excel. So if you're trying to create a report for yourself, you can do that, and it will download for you. Keep in mind that it does have 1,000 row max, so you may want to put in a date range. Here's what the score reports look like. I think most of you know how to get those. That I think is the most important part of GED Manager, is being able to get a score report. Gives them a skills checklist, gives you a skills checklist for them. And the other thing that you can get here is a voucher report. You can search by voucher. In the upper right-hand corner, you can put in, say you have some vouchers in an actual spreadsheet and you want to see whether it was actually used, you can search for it and it'll show you who used it and when. So that's an important thing to know about in the student test activity report. You also have the availability for a passers report. Lets you put in, and that's under reporting as well. It lets you put in a date range. You do not need to put in a test center. It'll pull anyone who's passed that has chosen your site without putting in the test center. You can download that report. Maybe you want it for graduation purposes or something of that sort. some important information about the passer's report. It will show for the date range that you selected. So make sure that you use the date range that you want. And you will see when in the passer's report, you'll see their GED ID number, their date of birth, their credential date, and the scores that are included in that credential. So you'll be able to see what their final scores were that are included on their GED transcript. Okay, this last section, and I've only got about 15 minutes, and I doubt that I can get through all of these. But once you get the handout for this with the slides, when they send it out to you, at least you'll have these available to you so that you can find these other resources that are available to you. I mentioned getting to the educators and admins page earlier from GED.com. So the only website you really need to remember is GED.com. And then you can get to all of these educator resources by clicking educators and admins in the upper right. What you have available to you at that point is a large menu at the top. And I just pulled all of these out so that you can actually see what's available. There's a GED overview, which gives you 4 different choices there, and we won't have time to go through all of them here. The educator section is probably the most important section for you. Notice that there is a link to GED Manager there and GED Direct. So if you need assistance with those, you can take a look at them. There are student programs that are available here for you to look at. In the administrator section, there are a lot of policies and things that you might want to take a look at. And then the other 3 do not have drop downs. They take you directly to another page. So the corrections, accommodations, and news go directly to those pages. And they talk about the things that are described there: corrections, accommodations, and news. Some of the resources I think that are really important for you as educators are these 4 documents. I'll let you look at these on your own time, but I do provide you with links to them right on this page. So when you get this slide deck, you'll be able to click right on them. One thing on this slide that I do want to mention to you is the Learning Preferences ebook, the one on the right. That one is going to help you with the learning preference of a student who has taken that particular assessment. It's a short assessment that students can take in their GED.com account. If you create an account for yourself, you can try the assessment out. It'll give you your learning style. This particular resource that's on the right here, the Learning Preferences ebook, tells you how to use the information that you see in GED Manager about the learning preference of that student. So it gives you some details of how to help those students with that particular learning preference. There are other helpful links to how-to guides for educators. I do want to point out that the transcript, diploma, and GED credentialing that you see on the screen here does not apply to Connecticut because Connecticut has their own credentialing process. One thing I do suggest that you do is to sign up for the in-session newsletter. You give us your email, and we send you out an email once a month with a new newsletter. We do have a new mobile app, so I wanted to just show that to you here. It is available in for iPhone only at this point. We do have a tips for educators of how to use that app in your classroom. And we do have future plans for this app. We know that adult learners are always have their phones with them, and it makes it an easy way for them to stay connected to their GED account. The future plans include an Android app and Spanish, which should be coming sooner rather than later this year. So that will be coming soon. And then we're also going to be linking other study materials. Right now, there is only one book that is linked as a study material, but we're looking to move forward from that and get more. I should mention on the app, the same login is used for your GED.com account and for the app. So they have the same login credentials. A few upcoming events I want to share. We do have a yearly grad day. It's held in May. We don't have the date announced yet, but if you sign up for in session, you will be informed of when that will be. It's a great way to have your students participate in a national virtual graduation ceremony. We are having our GED annual conference in Chicago this year. It is August 4th through 6th. I've included a link at the bottom to last year's materials so that you can see the types of things that we present. Educators are who this is really focusing on. We do have things for administrators and test administrators, corrections, GED adult educators, all kinds of things. So you can check that out and see if it might be something you can attend. We'd love to have you. We started a National GED Day last year, September 16th. It was done kind of last minute, so we didn't have a lot of buy-in. So I want you to know about it ahead of time, and maybe you can plan to celebrate National GED Day with us on September 16th this year. I included some links here to some different things that went on last year to give you some ideas. I know as educators, we don't like to create, we don't like to start from scratch. We like to start with something. So give you a few ideas to start with. All right, hopefully I've answered your questions as we've gone along today, but if you have any other questions, and I guess we can allow people to come off of mute, right, Mary Kate?
Yes, we can. We do have about 7 or so more minutes.
And my contact information is there for you on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions about this presentation. I do have a presentation later today as well. But anything that you have that involves GED testing, if I don't know the answer or I feel like, the state should be answering the question, I'll send you to the right person if I can't answer your questions. Guess nobody wants to talk.
Are you going to make the slides available to download?
Yes, I will be giving these slides to Mary Kate and her group, and she will get those out to you.
Right. Thank you.
Sure.
I was wondering, how long have the GED coordinators or managers been able to assign the test vouchers directly to the students?
GED Direct has been in place probably, it's been several years
Okay.
now.
We have a very different method. I'm so excited that somebody can maybe assign those to students so students do not put them in improperly.
Right. And I think important to tell you is I think it's just been trying to get the word out on the availability of GED Direct. I think some of you may be ordering your vouchers through your publishers because they give you a discount as well. But like I said, ordering in bulk from GED Direct would allow you to get discounts that way, and you wouldn't have to keep track on those spreadsheets anymore. And they don't expire. And I do always have the question, and I probably should have included it while I was talking about it, but let's say that you as a staff member have the GED Direct purchases in your account, and let's say you retire or you leave your position, we can transfer those over to whoever takes your position later. So you don't lose them if a staff member leaves. We can always get them. Any unused GED directs can be given to another person at your site.
Thank you.
Is it easier to use GED Direct GED Ready tests if your other staff members can access GED Manager?
I would say yes, because you can share those GED Direct purchases with whoever has GED Manager access
Okay.
at your site. You can't parse them out. So say you order 100 GED Readies. You would be giving them access to all 100. We are working, our IT team is working to try to be able to assign, if you buy 100 of them and you want to assign 20 to this person and 20 to that person. They're working on that feature now, but it is not currently available. So you'd be sharing all 100 of them with your people.
Okay, thank you. The other option is simply to give them directly, one person in the organization to give them directly to the students when they need them, correct?
You mean yes, to assign them from
Right.
GED Manager. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Becky, that's what we do here in New Haven, is that our teachers will request vouchers for their students when needed, and we have someone that will assign the vouchers to the students.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, Richard. It's always good to get it directly from people who are using it. I think I had one other question in the chat. If the voucher has an expiration, are you saying those dates are void? If you have voucher codes and they have expired, you need to reach out to me directly and provide those vouchers to me, and I will see if I can get them extended or give you new vouchers.
And one thing I might add is that for people that are using GED Manager in order to assign, oftentimes if you're going to assign, just to make sure that they're being used, of course, you can you almost don't double assign, because if you go to assign one that actually they already have an assignment already there, it'll show up as that they have something in progress already. So you'll know that they already have something that's outstanding that they haven't used yet, and then you can go to that teacher and say, hey, your student has a voucher that they haven't used yet, of which, or if you're kind of overseeing it, you can either pull the voucher back. Maybe it's gotten lost in maybe the student's email in regards to how they're looking at it into their GED.com account when they're looking at.
Perfect. Thanks, Richard, for that. Well, I hope I have helped you. I hope that you got at least one new thing. I always say when I attend something, if I get one new thing, it's worth it. So I hope I provided you with some information that you can use. And again, please feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Thank you so much, Diane. All right. So I think we'll end it there. Next presentation will begin in a half hour. Session C will start at 12:45. So just like you did for this one, you can join in there with the next Zoom link, and we hope to see you then. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.